Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer in that order. Welcome everyone, episode 3 here of Mike from Junk Wax Hero and my bi-weekly discussion on random sports card topics, baseball, and trivia. Hope you all enjoy. How's it going, Mike?
Going awesome. Excited to be back and episode number 3.
Episode number 3, yeah. We still don't have a title. We keep getting good ideas, but yeah. Do you have a favorite at the moment?
Somebody had a great idea last episode 2 weeks ago. I'd have to go back into the comments and look. I should have before this, but no, I've already forgotten.
There was Junk Wax Warriors, I think, was one. There's still mine, Junk Wax Collector Investor Dealer.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
A lot of like generic, Mike and Chris talk cards or that sort of thing, which could totally work. But yeah, we'll come up with it at some point, I guess.
Yeah.
So okay, let's open the show like we did last time. I want to hear about some of your dealing adventures. I know you. So you bought. I know of the two. You bought the $300 one 2-ish, 3-ish weeks ago now, or no, more, like a month ago now.
Yeah, it was even more than that. It must have been close to 6 weeks ago at this point. It's not much has changed. I think I've probably made more easily off it than I expected to. I've probably made about $200 so far.
Okay.
But I'm not anywhere near turning a profit, and I've put in so much time and effort into it. Probably 6 to 8 hours.
Okay.
So I'd need to. What do you? I think I asked this last time. What do you hope to make per hour? Is it $25 an hour? Is it $50 an hour?
Yeah, I don't have an answer there. Every collection is different, and it just there's too many factors. I don't even compute that, but yeah, like I think I mentioned this last time. Early on, my hourly rate was terrible.
Yeah,
but it's a learning. Each one you'll just get 1% better.
I learned so much from that first collection, and it wasn't a huge outlay, and I'm not going to lose money on it.
Okay.
I've spent a lot of time, but I've also, I spent a couple of hours sorting cards during the U.S. Open, both U.S. Open championships, and during some baseball games. So it's not like it's miserable time. I love sorting cards anyway.
Yeah.
But it's been a great learning experience. And then today, I picked up 60 PSA slabs.
Okay.
Here.
Yeah.
These are all mid-grade 1980s Superstar and Hall of Famer rookies. Nothing that's terribly valuable in there. I'll probably do a video on it on my channel soon. The best one is PSA 7 Griffey 89 Upper Deck.
Okay.
Which I will actually use to upgrade my personal one, and then I'll sell probably sell 57 or 58 of them. Should be easy to sell. I mean, I priced a lot of these at like $5 or $6 off of eBay comps.
Okay.
So and then I paid about 60 or 70% of comps.
Okay. What's your method of selling? Are you gonna sell them on eBay, or are you gonna use COMC, or are you gonna lot them up?
I'm not going to lot them up. I haven't decided yet. And I was in my local card shop on Saturday, and was that yesterday? Yeah. And I was telling the owner about that, and he said he might be interested in buying them all as a lot. So I might consider that. Just you
would pay more than 60%?
Yep.
Oh,
because I told him the prices I was comping them at on which are priced on eBay.
Yeah.
And he figures that he can get higher than that because he's not charging shipping.
Right. Okay.
So if on eBay they're selling them for $6, then could he sell them for $8?
Okay. Well, actually, are there a lot of key rookies in your collection?
Yep, all the key rookies. Every key rookie you can imagine from 78 to 89.
Oh, so you have Ripken, Boggs, Sandberg, Gwen, McGuire. Yeah. Okay. Oh, is it mainly rookies?
It's all rookies. And for like 8 or 9 years, well, no, not that many years, but 7 years maybe, it's all the Fleer, Donruss, Topps rookies of the Hall of Famers and Superstars, of course.
Okay. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I don't know what the dealer's mentality, but that's the kind of stuff that on eBay will have really low pot, like a Kirby Puckett rookie PSA 5. You'll go on eBay and they'll be selling for like $3 or something, but in a store you can easily ask 10 and get it.
Right.
It's a key rookie of a Hall of Famer, PSA graded. So it's more exciting. It's kind of exciting, even though
Yep.
the eBay comp might be real low.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. So
Yeah,
we'll see. I'm gonna keep a few of them myself to upgrade my personal collection, and then I'll flip them quickly.
nice. Okay, is that officially deal number 2?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So deal number 1 is going to prove to be a profit with
bust.
a poor hourly rate.
Yes.
But deal number 2, maybe a profit with a slightly less poor hourly rate. Is that sort of the goal?
Yeah, it's either going to be a big profit and a moderate hourly rate,
okay,
or a small profit and almost 0 hours put into it.
for the second one, if you flip it to the dealer.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, cool, man. So the first deal you had initially said all your commenters said you overpaid and you're going to lose money, and then you were thinking that for a bit, but then as you started getting further along, you actually thought you changed your thinking, and now you think you're going to do quite well. Is that still where you are? Like,
absolutely. I've already made 200 out of the 3 back.
have you sold half the inventory, or
not even close?
Oh, nice. Okay.
I still have well over 100 cards that need to go to COMC. So if I take an average of $1 profit per card from each of those, and profit I mean after fees from COMC,
sure,
then there's another $100 right there. Plus, I still have a ton that I haven't even listed on eBay yet because I haven't had any time.
Okay. Are you having fun with it? That's the real question.
I do. I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times I'm like, man, this collection took forever to sort through, but I was like three of those hours I was watching the Commanders game, and
right.
Does that even really count?
Yeah. Yeah, it really doesn't, because I don't know. I assume you at least somewhat enjoy sorting cards.
That's my favorite aspect of all of cards, is the sorting.
Yeah, I love it.
More than anything. Yeah, the buying's fun. The sorting's my favorite. Yeah, setting, reading, all of that's fun, except the selling, as we've discussed.
Yeah,
that's the least fun.
Yeah. What about you? Any big purchases this week?
Yeah, no, I get a steady. I went to the Philly show over the weekend, so I did I did a couple of big buys there. Yeah, that was fun.
I did just get back a PSA order, and this Jordan came back a 10.
Yeah,
I paid. It's tough to see.
Okay, yeah.
Came back a 10, and there were no comps on eBay.
That's worth more than you think, or
right.
Well,
that's what I thought. There were 2 that were for sale that were like 950 and 799 or best offer. And I thought, oh man, maybe I'll make $500-600 off this. But in the last week, since I found out I got the 10, 2 went up for sale with minimum bids of like $10, and one of them just ended 20 minutes ago at $331. So
yeah, that's, you don't consider that a lot? That's a lot more than I would have. I mean, I consider that a lot for that card.
It is a lot, but it now produced a new comp that was lower than I was thinking before.
So I literally got somebody shipped me a collection like in this past week, and there was one of those raw in it, and I wasn't familiar. I mean, I had seen it before, but I wasn't overly familiar with it. So I just assumed it was like a $5 standard sort of Jordan base card. But
there's 2 of them. There's the number 142 and the number 23, and I have the 142. They're both. I'm not really sure.
Can I see it again?
Yeah, they look pretty similar to me.
Oh, I had the other one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know what the difference is in value.
I didn't. Well, I just assumed it was a couple bucks, like a standard Jordan. But I looked it up, and they were raw. They were selling for like $40-50.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember now looking the 2 of them up. In the PSA pop, the number 23, the one you have, has a little bit more 10s, but not very many more than the one I have.
Yeah. All right, that's good. So I'm like I said, I'm excited for you. I hope my secret hope is that it like goes so well that you just start doing it a lot more. But
yeah,
I assume that's sort of a long shot.
Yeah, we'll see. A little failure here on my part. I opened a box of Bowman U in the spring, or whenever those came out, May, I guess.
Okay.
And I got a Bo Nix autograph.
Yeah.
And yesterday he blew up. I don't follow college football, but I've been keeping an eye on Oregon.
Yeah.
And he had another great game. He beat Deion Sanders' team, And I was like, oh, gonna pull that out and sell it now at what has to be its peak since May.
Sure.
I can't find it.
Oh,
Cannot find it. And I can't find any of the cards from that box. And I wonder if I just sent them all off to COMC, because I sent 100 cards to COMC. And what a bummer that is if I did, because now is the time to sell that.
well, but it would be in processing at COMC at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna be waiting 4 to 6 weeks or whatever it is.
Yeah, they emailed me a couple weeks ago saying they had received it.
Was it at the 50 cent level? Oh yeah, I think they're
30-cent level.
The what?
Or 35-cent
Oh,
level.
you got
the national deal.
Yeah, okay. I think that might be like even more than 4 to 6 weeks, right?
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah. I mean, you can't blame yourself for that.
Yeah. Well, I should have known. I should have said I should keep this one out. Like I kept out the Brandon Miller autograph. Brandon Miller, number 2 draft pick. I was smart enough to say, I want to sell this during the preseason if he's good in the preseason. But I didn't think about the Bo Nix apparently.
Okay. I personally don't play that game. Oh, I used to play that game and I was so bad at it that I stopped.
My friend Kevin does it so well.
Oh, really? I know dealers who do it well. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just like, they somehow get every prospect right. Or maybe they're just buying low, selling high, and semi-timing it right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll always open the show with the update on how your dealing career is going. So if that's cool with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. But yeah, well, let's transition to the topic at hand, or the one that I thought would be fun to discuss. So first of all, you just had your interview with Joe. Was it? Sorry, I forgot. I keep missing his last name.
Joe Posnanski.
Joe Posnanski
on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, and we discussed on your channel last time. He wrote about the idea. I guess it wasn't his idea of splitting all players into like a 10-tier system. And basically, I think there's 20,000 players who have ever played in the majors. The best third of those go to tier 2. So now there's like 6,000 some. The best third of those go to tier 3, and then the best third of those go to tier 4, and you keep doing it. And the math works out that if you do that 10 times, the top tier, there's only one player, and that would in theory be the best player of all time. And the second highest tier would have 3 players, and then the tier after that would have 9, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then the Hall of Fame cutoff would be somewhere around tier 5 to tier 5, right? Yep. Tier 5 or 6. And so that the reason I love this idea is because today you have it's black or white, your Hall of Fame, yes or no. But here you would have 5 tiers, and I think that's a really cool idea. The one thing I want to talk about is change that idea, but make it the baseball card hobby related. So we've had 20,000 major league players, the top third in the baseball card world. So your number 1 player of all time might be Willie Mays, let's say. I think was his pick, right?
Yeah, it's my pick too.
But Willie Mays would not be the number 1 baseball card collected player of all time. He might be
Correct.
tier 3 or tier 2, right?
Yep.
And so start with that. Like, what who would you think would be sort of at the top of the list there?
Probably Babe Ruth or Mickey Mantle.
Yeah, would be your top guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably Ruth, but I think that Mantle is more accessible for collectors, and his career perfectly spans post-war vintage.
Yeah.
So it's all of his cards have value, and they're, except for the 52 and to a lesser extent the 51 Bowman, they're all semi-accessible for most people.
In the sense that there's like they're available.
Yeah, there's the population is certainly high enough. The values obviously can get very high, but if you're patient, I know some normal guys who have saved up and gotten the 52 tops in authentic.
Yeah, right. Whereas like you with like a Babe Ruth, you might just not be able to find it. Period.
Right. Yeah, and Babe Ruth's cards, because they're pre-war, they're kind of all over the place. There's no Babe Ruth run that seems logical to me.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of different brands. There's no, you collect tops and a little Bowman, like with Mantle, and it's fairly easy.
Okay, so my top guy would be Mantle. I think Mantle would be, who would be your next tier guy? your next tier, your tier 2. If you had to, I guess you would have 3 in there.
Yeah, so in tier 2 would probably have to be Clemente and maybe Koufax.
Yeah.
And Hank Aaron.
Right. So, and I like that you said, so Clemente and Koufax are the 2 that I was thinking are some of the best examples of how they're much higher, and Mantle, they're much higher on the card pyramid than they would be in the baseball card greatness pyramid, right? Nobody would say Mantle's the greatest player ever,
right?
Or top 2. Probably you would have not a lot of people arguing Clemente is a top 3-4 player of all time, or Koufax. I mean, I guess you can make the argument, I guess, but I don't think most people would put them in the top 3 or 4 of all time.
Yeah, so I talked about this on Hobby Think Tank a few months ago. So if anybody's watching and already heard my talk on this, I'm sorry, but I think with collecting, it's more about stories. It's more about nostalgia and memories. And Clemente had a big following, even though he wasn't the biggest.
Yeah.
Koufax had a big following, even though he was the best for a very short period of time, and he won a bunch of World Series and Cy Youngs, and he went out on top. I think he won the Cy Young his last year, right? 5.
Well, yeah, he was pretty good for the last 6 years there.
Yeah, and so the legends live on, and that's more important than where they might rank on the all-time list to collectors, because your father, not necessarily yours, but a collector's father may share those stories. Like my father shared stories of Carl Yastrzemski with me.
Yeah.
I never saw Carl Yastrzemski played. I was 4 when he retired, but I am a Carl Yastrzemski super collector.
Nice.
Because of those stories that my father would tell. He was in awe of Yaz, and I think that's important.
Yeah, I love that. And so if you go down the list and get into the lower tiers, it still applies, right? Bo Jackson is much more collected than Craig Biggio, I guess.
Absolutely.
Right. Whereas no, historically Craig Biggio is clearly the better player.
Yeah.
But the story of Bo Jackson is, there were more people who resonated with it and remember it, I guess, and so that's why his top cards sell more than Craig Biggio's by a notable amount.
Yeah, and I think Nolan Ryan is a guy who spans 2 different generations. He started in '68 when my father was 17 years old, and he pitched until '93 when I was 14.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's 25 years. He pitched across 4 different decades.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and this no one would claim Nolan Ryan was the greatest pitcher of all time, but the legend of Nolan Ryan will live for a long, long time. 7 no-hitters, 110 miles per hour. People say he threw early in his career.
Yeah.
The fight with Robin Ventura.
Mm-hmm.
He is a legend, and people will collect. Now, obviously, his cards from the 80s and 90s don't hold much value, but his rookie card and the 71 and the 69, those are way more valuable than most guys' 2nd and 4th year cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I often hear people talk about this guy is overrated in the hobby, or this guy is underrated in the hobby because they weren't as good as the hobby considers them, or they were better than the hobby considers them. But you can't. There isn't a direct correlation between players' value as a player and their value as cards.
What about using that tier system with active players? Because you would see players move up and down quite a lot, like based on how good of a season they just had.
Yeah, you got to put Shohei at the top, right? And Acuna would be in that second tier 9, I guess.
The 9th tier.
Trout, yeah, probably Trout, maybe still in tier 9, but probably slipping towards tier 8.
Yeah.
Matt Olson would be moving up. 54 home runs this year out of nowhere. I mean, he's been a power hitter, but nobody expected him to hit 54.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to see some analysis that shows how much guys can move or do move in a season if we had that 10 tier system.
Right. Or and if you have and young guy, I mean Julio Rodriguez and and all these, like how far up do you move them when they have one great season or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, is it based strictly on their current standing in baseball, or is it their career in baseball?
Right. Oh, maybe it should be their career, and they basically can only move up then. If you're talking about cards that like are likely to hold long-term value, yeah, you base it on their career. Well, I'm gonna make it. So I have two long-term projects that I'll never actually do, but I love the idea of doing. I want to make a formula to determine if you make the Hall of Fame. That's strictly numbers, but very complex. And then I want to make a tier system to that you can just like plug in a computer and it'll say, is this a good long-term investment card or not?
Yeah, that would be great. A few people pointed out and reminded me that on Baseball Reference, they have the Hall of Fame numbers. If you scroll down on a guy's Hall of Fame on their Baseball Reference page,
Yeah.
it has, I don't remember what it's called, but it is basically a number that projects, I think if you hit 100, you're supposed to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I've seen that. Do you know what do you know about that?
I don't know anything about it. I
Okay.
look at it frequently, and
Yeah.
so I was surprised that I had forgotten. So I actually have Paul Splitorf here up on my screen,
Okay,
Kansas
the
City.
Royals. Yeah, you mentioned yeah.
Yeah, so his Hall of Fame monitor, likely Hall of Famer equals 100. His was
Yeah.
24. So you can click into it and just see for batting average 2.5 points for each season over 300, 5 for over 350, 15 for over 400. So you see a lot of guys from the early 20th century who have a lot of points because batting average was more important and it was easier for guys to get hits back then. Um, for hits, you get 5 points for each season of 200 or more hits. Guys don't get, there aren't a lot of 200 hit seasons anymore. 3 points for each season of 100 RBIs and 3 points for each season of 100 runs. 10 points for 50 home runs, 4 points for 40, and 2 points for 30, 2 points for 45 doubles. I mean, it goes on and on like that. You get a number of points for each accomplishment. And you get points for Gold Glove at key up the middle positions, and then 1 for any other.
So okay, that's interesting. So that's sort of in line with what I want, but it wouldn't be those sort of things because to me, 40 home runs, like it depends on what era you played in. Like it's much more like I would much more base it on like MVP votes or Gold Gloves would be because that's a sign of how good you are in your era. Yeah, like you said, 300 was like everyone has hit 300 back in the 1920s.
Yeah, you could do OPS plus, which
Yeah,
adjusts for era, it adjusts for ballparks.
yeah,
You could do WAR, which does the same thing too, but
sure. Well, that WAR would be a part of it.
yeah.
That's interesting. So 100 is like is where the likely Hall of Famers are. And how accurate is that? Do you know at predicting it? Because that would be the real question. Like, is it? Yeah, you get to 100, you're basically in. I mean, WAR actually is a pretty good predictor.
Yeah.
It's decent. Like 80 is a lock. 40 you have no chance, and then 40 to 80 is a sliding scale.
Oh, here we go. So 100, which is what a likely Hall of Famer is. All the guys who are at 100, there are 4 of them. Roger Connor, who's in the Hall of Fame. Harvey Kuhn,
Who's
who's
not?
not. Fred McGriff, who
Okay.
is, and Pee Wee Reese, who is.
Okay.
And then the guys at 99 are Dick Allen, who's not. Jim Bottomley, who is. Ryan Howard, who will never be.
Yeah.
Joe Kelly, who is. Scott Rowland, who is. And Zach Wheat, who is.
So okay, so it's so the right around 100, you're basically somewhere in, somewhere not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Well, I want to do that formula, but better.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's improve that. And then the all-time leader is Stan Musial, 452.
Stan Musial is the all-time leader.
Yeah,
How can it
just
not
ahead of
be
Ty
Babe Ruth?
Cobb.
Huh?
Babe Ruth is in 4th at 411.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would have to study the formula, but that's I can't
A-Rod.
imagine. It's like it seems like Babe Ruth would just be number one in everything. He just he just hit like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, Ted Williams 7th, even though he
Yeah.
missed 5 seasons
Yeah,
in his prime.
that's amazing.
Yeah, Barry Bonds 10th. You got some Reuters there. A-Rod at 5th and
Oh,
Barry
A-Rod's
Bonds at 10th.
Barry Bonds only 10th. Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna look at that formula more. I mean, it strikes me that Bonds and Ruth should be at the top of any list.
Yeah, it's just I think because it weights batting average and hits higher than they're valued today.
Okay.
Instead of getting on base.
Yeah. Oh, totally off subject. In your interview with Joe, you mentioned Joe Carter. I could not. I was in the same boat as you. I could not believe how low his WAR is, and exactly what you said. Like, no, I've followed him. He was a major star.
Yep, he really was.
He was like a perennial all-star, and he was like
five-time all-star,
leading the league in RBIs every year. You know, like and then if I hadn't heard that from you, I would have guessed his WAR was like 45, 50.
400 home runs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
he got the iconic home run for the J. Not that that's the career stat, but yeah, I just would have thought he was like a Fred McGriff, similar to Fred McGriff type. What's his career WAR? 19.5.
No, man, didn't get on base. 306.
I would have thought he was ahead of Harold Baines.
Yeah, not exactly half of Harold Baines' WAR.
Incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I remember Joe Carter being this superstar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you look at what we valued in the late 80s, early 90s, which were RBIs, he was a superstar.
Yeah.
Like Juan Gonzalez, although Gonzalez was much better player. Yeah, RBIs are much more indicative, and we're going to get a lot of hate in the comments. RBIs are much more indicative of the guys who are batting ahead of you.
Possibly. I never thought of that. But yeah, that's Mike's take on RBIs.
Blame me.
Yeah. Well, actually, a lot of the best players today don't have a lot of RBIs, right? Like, and they don't have like the 130 RBI seasons we used to see of the major sluggers.
Today, I think in the Immaculate Grid, I don't want to spoil it. Oh, we won't, because you'll be posting this tomorrow.
Yeah.
It was San Diego Padres and 100 RBI seasons, and I want to do Immaculate Grid. Have you done Immaculate Grid? Yeah, we did.
You showed it to me. Yeah.
I try to do it in under 5 minutes, so I just decided I'm going to put in Fernando Tatis, because clearly he's had 100 RBI season.
Awesome example. I know, Fernando Tatis, right? Like Machado. Well, Machado might not have either. He probably did, but
Tatis's best season was 97 RBIs.
Yeah.
But he hit 42 home runs.
I know. No, yeah, 40 home runs and under 100 RBIs used to never happen.
Right.
And now I think Trout did it a couple times, or there's a bunch of players who've done it.
Mark Bellhorn, I'll never forget this. I think it was the 2000. I think it was 2003, right before he joined the Red Sox. He was playing for the Cubs. He hit 28 home runs and had 56 RBIs.
No way.
Yeah.
2-1.
Yeah.
So he basically didn't drive into anybody except himself.
Yeah. Machado's best seasons were 107, 106, and 102.
Right. Like the Manny Machado equivalent star in like 1993, his best RBI seasons would be like 130, 135, 125.
Yeah, Machado has a WAR. Guess what his WAR is?
It's pretty good. 40.
55.
55, yeah. I should have guessed that. Yeah, I actually looked at that fairly recently.
He's not having a good year, and his WAR is still 2.8 this year. I'm guessing a lot of defensive WAR. No, mostly offensive WAR.
No, so. he was one where his WAR he projects really well long term career numbers wise, but
yeah, he's only 30, right? He's in his age 30 season.
Yeah,
he's just turned 31.
Yeah. So he's on good pace.
Yeah.
Do you want to do your trivia?
Love to. Let's do it.
Okay. So the category is 1990s baseball.
Okay.
It's a pretty long trivia, and there's multiple parts to it.
Okay.
So similar to last time. Okay, so it's going to be 2 phases again. The first phase, just rattle off as many names as you can come up with, and then the second phase, we'll go through the ones you haven't gotten, and I'll give you team and position maybe.
Right.
But we have the most home runs in the 1990s. So the top 24 home run hitters of the 1990s. Most home runs in the 1990s.
Okay, Ken Griffey Jr.
Okay, wait, hold on. I didn't start the timer yet.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Because you have to name the player and the year of their rookie card.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, I just threw my pen.
You just threw your pen? What do you need a pen?
No, I got a pencil.
Okay. All right, ready, set, go.
Griffey, 89. Bonds, 86 tops traded.
Yeah, you just need the year.
Okay. I'm gonna guess Juan Gonzalez.
He's 5th.
1990.
Yep.
Larry Walker, 1990.
16th.
And how many am I supposed to name?
24.
24.
Pause. Time out. I'm pausing the timer. Oh, I should mention, somebody gave me this quiz about a week ago, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna nail that. And there's a couple names on here that are really hard.
Okay, wonderful.
So I'll give you that heads up. All right, continue.
Chipper Jones.
No Chipper Jones.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Jose Canseco.
Yep, he's 8th.
86.
Sure.
Mark McGuire.
He's 1.
His rookie is 87, but he's got the US Team USA 85.
Give it to you. Yeah, extra credit there.
Rafael Palmeiro, 87.
Yep.
Oh, man, this is a lot harder than you would think.
Yeah.
The 90s. Jim Thome?
No.
Who else? Gary Sheffield, 89.
Yep.
Alex Rodriguez.
No, started too late.
Bobby Bonilla?
No, good guess though. There's a lot of that like level player.
Oh, man.
I know.
Edgar Martinez didn't hit enough home runs though.
No.
Wow, this is really good and really bad. Who else was a big rookie in the late 80s? Darryl Strawberry did most of his damage in the 80s though.
Yeah. You're too early. 15 seconds.
Wow. So, and I know people are screaming at their screen.
Well, you've got all right, time's up. So you got 9 of the 24, but you got 7 of the top 8. Sorry, you got 6 of the top 8. All right, you ready for some individuals with teams and positions? All right, Cubs outfielder.
Sammy Sosa. Rookie was in 1990.
White Sox first baseman.
Paul Konerko.
Easier
Frank Thomas, 1990.
Yeah. First base, I guess, Padres and Blue Jays.
Fred McGriff.
Yeah.
86.
Giants third baseman.
I would say Jeff Kent. Thank you. My wife just threw my pen back to me.
Oh.
I know Jeff Kent wasn't a third baseman.
No, yeah.
Giants third baseman.
Yeah.
You got me.
We'll come back. Tigers first baseman. 50 homer season.
Cecil Fielder, 86.
This one's this one I think is the hardest. Padres, I think he's a Padres outfielder.
Ken Caminiti?
No, a good guess though. This guy also had a 50 home run season. Like 90% sure it's Padres.
I was going to say Brian Giles, but I don't think he ever had a 50 home run season.
No.
I don't know.
All right, that's Greg Vaughn.
Greg Vaughn. Wow. Yeah. Tampa Bay is. Yeah.
He's Padres, right?
Yep.
Astros first baseman. That's it.
Lance Berkman. No, he was an outfielder. Jeff Bagwell.
Yeah.
1990.
Red Sox first baseman.
Mo Vaughn.
Yeah.
1990.
Right.
91.
Mariners outfielder, I guess.
Jay Buhner?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, now
Jay Buhner's rookie would have been.
That's a hard one.
Oh, yeah. 90?
And it's 88.
I was trying to picture 88 Fleer and Jay Buhner, but
he's definitely in the donruss set, and he has a tops traded. I don't know if he's in the Fleer set.
Okay. Zero value to Jay Buhner cards.
0. Yeah.
Except the Seinfeld episode that he's referenced
Jay
in.
Jr.'s in a Seinfeld episode?
Well, he's not in it, but Frank Costanza yells at George Steinbrenner for trading Jay Buhner. It's absolute classic.
I don't
moment.
remember that line.
So I don't want to take up the time, but George Steinbrenner comes by Frank Costanza's house to tell him that George Costanza has died. Frank Costanza's son has died.
Right.
And Frank just sits there, and he all of a sudden just starts yelling at George Steinbrenner for trading Jay Buhner.
Oh yeah, okay. The scene, I remember the scene. I wouldn't remember that it was Jay Buhner.
I'm pretty sure that was the scene. That's the way it plays out in my mind. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Rockies first baseman. Yeah.
Larry Walker. No, he was an outfielder.
Larry Walker is. You got Larry Walker earlier.
Yeah, Rockies first base. Dante Bichette.
That's not it, but he's on here. He was another one.
Rockies first baseman.
You want? I'll give it to you. Andre Scalaraga.
Ah, man.
Would you have pulled that one?
I don't know. The big cat. I sometimes use him on Immaculate Grid for Rockies players.
Okay. Well, who would he play for before the Rockies? Was he like Indians?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I feel like everybody at that time played for Montreal before they went somewhere.
Oh, it might have been Montreal. Yeah, that sounds right. That's what his rookie card's with.
Yeah, there you
go. Okay, the guy we discussed earlier about having only 19 WAR.
Joe Carter.
Yeah.
1986.
Right. No, not 86. Try again.
Oh, 84.
Yeah.
Donruss.
Right.
Yeah.
Catcher for the Dodgers.
Mike Piazza. Rookies were in 90. He had a 92 Bowman.
Yeah.
But was that his rookie?
That's his rookie, yeah.
Okay.
All right, you have 4 left, and 2 of them are really hard. I'll save the 2 hard ones. First is Braves outfielder.
Andrew Jones.
No. Earlier.
Dale Murphy?
Later.
Braves outfielder between Dale Murphy
and maybe
Andrew
he was
Jones.
a first baseman. No, he was an outfielder, I think. He might have played some first base. He was like the Braves' best player during their run in the early 90s.
And it's not Chipper Jones.
No. He's sort of it's funny how forgettable this guy is, even though he was a stud.
Yeah, you got me.
Dave Justice.
Oh wow, he was rookie of the year in 1990.
Yeah.
I was a big Dave Justice collector.
Okay.
As a kid.
Yeah, no, I love Dave. I collected him too. He was awesome.
Yeah.
All right, this guy
by the way, I think he married Halle Berry.
Yes,
or he was dating her.
That's right.
And that's when the quote "baseball been very good to me" came up.
Oh, that's from that?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I know somebody will correct me in the comments. They always do.
You didn't get a guy who was number 4 on the list, and that's Indians outfielder. He was a major star, but only played 10 seasons.
Albert Bell.
Yeah. All right, and the last 2 are super hard. I didn't get.
By the way, Albert Bell, 1990, Joey Bell.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's actually in the 89 traded sets.
Oh.
But the 90, I think the 1990s are considered rookies too. All right, these last 2, I couldn't believe I wasn't even close on these. Braves outfielder, and his rookie is in 1988. If that helps.
No, it doesn't.
Ron Gant.
Oh wow, yeah, he was really good for a short time.
Okay.
Power and speed, kind of the Ronald Acuna.
Was
poor man's Ronald Acuna, I think.
Sure. Okay. And third base for the Rangers. I think he's third base. And I don't know when his rookie is. I think it's 1990.
Third base for the Rangers. I don't know.
Dean Palmer.
Oh, I loved Dean Palmer when I was a kid. I never would have. Another guy that I would think now that you mentioned him was Travis Fryman.
Travis Fryman, yeah, I remember him. I collected him briefly. I prospected him.
Yeah. Dean Palmer and Travis Fryman. I think they were in the Team 2000 subset.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah,
they were both right around there.
Yeah, I mean, Ron Gant had 2 30-30 seasons in a row, 90 and 91.
Ron Gant and Dean Palmer, I don't remember them being stars, but obviously they were. on some level.
Yeah, just steady.
Yeah. What's
That was fun.
Yeah, there you go.
Dean Palmer had a career WAR of 13.
Well, that's better than Dante Bichette, who was also on here.
Yeah, but he hit 275 home runs. He had 38 twice.
Okay.
34, 33. Yeah.
I would have put like I would have guessed like Robin Ventura or something before Dean Palmer, but
yeah. Ventura wasn't. He's more like a John Olerud almost, except not that good. Not a whole lot of home runs, right?
To me, it's amazing like how many. So there's 24 names there. How many of these names, like their rookie cards, are literally commons?
Yeah.
Like they just get wiped off the map at some point in the card collecting world.
Ventura hit more home runs than I thought. Yeah, he had a 30 home run seasons.
Yeah.
There's a guy, 56 WAR.
Robin Ventura had 56 WAR.
Yeah.
That's much. Yeah. Well, he didn't get much Hall of Fame consideration. I mean, I wouldn't even consider him for it.
Yeah, a lot of it's defensive WAR. Like he led the league in defensive WAR in '98.
Okay. No idea. But this is a good lesson for like second tier stars today and where their where their card values are going to be. Because I mean, I remember a lot of these players I collected because they were like so good at the time.
Yeah, and if you think about how many players are prospected,
Yeah.
Nowadays, there are literally dozens of guys every year that people are hoarding as many and paying hundreds of dollars for their rookie cards autographed, thinking that they're going to pan out someday, and really only a handful, less than a handful per year. You did some analysis on this probably a year ago.
Yeah.
How many rookies will become Hall of Famers someday? It's almost none.
It's very little. I mean, and just like going back to the pyramid, like the tier 3, 4 guys. I mean, just nothing's worth anything. Maybe the very very best sliver. That's all you get.
Yeah, that's why outside of the Red Sox, the only guys I'm collecting now are Shohei and Acuna.
Yeah, well, those are on the safer side, I'd say.
Yep.
Cool, man. Should we call it a day?
Yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks with another video on my channel. I'll do some interesting trivia and we'll talk about another topic.
Sounds good, man.
This is fun as always. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was fun. All right, man. I'll see you then.